Welcome to another video on Influential Sports. In 2018, WWE hosted their first ever all-women's pay-per-view, Evolution, and what was a solid event. Had some of the top stars across Raw, SmackDown, and NXT all in that show. But I think with the women's roster they have now, they could have an even better show, and they should book a second Evolution. And I have 8 matches here, and I have a way that I would want to book it that I think could be very entertaining, and I think everybody would enjoy it if WWE was to do a Evolution once again. And this could be something that you do like once every decade or twice every decade or something like that, because I think it's nice to see the women get that shine. As they'll never get as much time as the men do, but for them to have their all-women's pay-per-view at one point, and now that the roster's improved, I think this would be a great roster to do it with. So the first match I would have is I would do a 6-1, and I'm assuming that this is taking place this year, and we done moved past the Royal Rumble. So, and this is happening before WrestleMania, and some of the titles can change hands. So you will see. But first I'll do a 6-woman ladder match for the women's championship that Tiffany Stratton is holding. It would include Naomi, Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, Nia Jax, and Candice LeRae. I think there's a story you can tell with all 6 of those women, like especially with Bianca, Jade, and Naomi. You could make the story of Naomi took out Jade to become the tag champ, or Bianca took out Jade to become so she could be on her own, and then Naomi got in the picture, which halted her run to going after a singles championship. Then you throw all 3 of them in there because y'all have some. Then obviously they all will want the women's championship. Then you have Nia Jax and Candice LeRae. You just trying to throw in because she was involved in the stuff with Tiffany Stratton. And then you can all build up some feuds. You can have some 3-on-3 matches. You can have even Jade and Nia Jax team up. Candice LeRae and Nia Jax will probably split at some point building up to this. And then I think you have Tiffany Stratton retain, showing how dominant she is as a champion. And then you head into WrestleMania having Charlotte and Tiffany Stratton. We're just assuming this in between Elimination Chamber and we're assuming this pay-per-view is happening in March after Elimination Chamber, because that's going to be in February, I think. Or it's in March 1st too. But anyways, just assume it's before WrestleMania when we're doing this. So then I will have Tiffany Stratton retain. And I think you could tell an interesting story of Tiffany Stratton and Candice LeRae being the last 2 on the ladder. Because obviously Candice LeRae, she's just been like the thorn in the side, almost preventing Tiffany from winning at one point. And you can tell that story of Candice comes so close, and the fans wouldn't want to see that at all. That Tiffany knocks her off the ladder, just like she did to Chelsea Green in the actual Money in the Bank match. Then you have her retain. So that's the first match I do to kick it off. Now, like I said, this is all fantasy booking. So if Becky Lynch and Charlotte had come back at this point, I would have ran a best-of-7 series with them. Because even though they had a really good feud, they never did a best-of-7. And not every feud needs that. But I would have Becky win a tables match, a regular match, and a Falls Count Anywheres match. And Charlotte win an Extreme Rules, a normal match, and a strap match. Then this last one would be a last woman standards match. And basically them fighting to prove who's the greatest women's wrestler of all time. That's what the whole story consists of. They just keep putting on banger after banger. And they keep putting on both of the normal matches will probably be kind of stale. But then once they start adding the stipulations, just going to make it more entertaining. Then I think you cap it off for the last woman standards match, like a Game 7 type scenario. And I would book Becky Lynch to win this match to prove that she's the GOAT of women's wrestling. Even though Charlotte has the most reigns, Becky Lynch has the more memorable reigns. Like her reigns are more remembered, and she can, like Charlotte can mention that I won 14 world titles, and Becky can bring up the fact that I had the longest modern reign in women's history. So then they both have very solid arguments to prove who's the GOAT. So they do this best-of-7 series, then you give them like a 30-minute match, the last woman standards match, and have Becky stand tall. I don't think you would go wrong with either one winning, neither one in the title picture at this point. And it's just to prove who's the greater wrestler all time. I think that would be a lot of fun, and I think fans would actually enjoy it if you did this instead of having them be in the title picture right now. Because you don't have to always be in the title picture, and you can still do meaningful stuff. Next, I would and obviously NXT is gonna be on here too. I would have at this point Stephanie Van Kier would have already beaten Fallon Henley for the North American Championship, but I think you give her a normal one-on-one match with Shotzi, as they trying to telling that story in NXT. If Shotzi is trying to get a shot at the title soon, So you have Shotzi lose that match to Stephanie Van Curie interferes. Then Stephanie beats Fallon Henley for the title. Then you run back Stephanie. Then you run back Stephanie Van Curie and Shotzi again, as Shotzi already had that win. Then you give Stephanie Van Curie that other win, and she retains the championship. I think it could be a fun match. Like their match on NXT was solid, and you do this match without no interference, no antics. It could be a lot of fun. Excuse me. Next, I had Chelsea Green finally dropped the United States Championship to Piper Niven. Obviously, that'll probably happen at WrestleMania if they want to tell that story that long. But I do see Piper Niven being the next champion, and I think she'll probably win the title at some point. And I think this could be an entertaining match. Like, obviously, Chelsea Green, she's going to be scared. She won't want to get in the ring with Piper Niven. That's a personal security. So, obviously, that's going to be a tough matchup and difficult for Chelsea to overcome. But I think that'll be a lot of fun. I don't think it'll be the best match, but it can definitely be solid if they're given the time to do it. Now, TNA has did this with Mike Santana, because he ran through the system and somebody else in like a 1-on-3 gauntlet matches. He almost did it to the Northern Armory, but it ended in interference. But I would have Lyra Valkyria do a gauntlet against the Pure Fusion Collective with Sonya Deville, Zoe Stark, and Shayna Baszler, and I have her retain. Just show how dominant she is as a champion. And no antics, no interference. Like, she just runs straight through them. Gonna be tired. Gonna have to put a backpack on, and I think that can make for a fun story. Like, you really want to show the importance of this championship and really build up Lyra. Because, like, once she loses that title, I want to see her elevated into the world title scene. So if she pulls something off like that, then she loses it later down the line, like a SummerSlam or something. But then she's in the Queen of the Ring tournament. Or she loses at WrestleMania to somebody like Becky Lynch, who's an established star, established main eventer. Then you have her win Queen of the Ring, go on to SummerSlam and win the world title. I can see that happening with Lyra. Now, she probably will lose to somebody in Pure Fusion Collective in reality, but the way I want to do this, I have her beat all three of them, and I think it'll be some solid in-ring work in a gauntlet match. And it's something that you don't usually see. Like, TNA has did it a few times with Mike Santana, but it's not something you really see in WWE. I mean, you've seen it with Kalani Jordan, but she ended up losing. But it's rare that the person that's on their own win matches like this. Then Julia, she's the NXT champion right now, but I would have her lose to Kalani Jordan in the best 2 out of 3 falls match. I think it could be really entertaining. I think this heel run that Kalani is going to go on is going to be great, and I think she should win the NXT championship before the year is over. And I think her and Julia could put on a great 3 matches. Best 2 out of 3 falls match. It's really hard to mess those up, and I think they could get they have a lot of great in-ring work. It'll be a fun match to see. How they build to it, not really sure, but they can. Shawn Michaels is definitely capable of it because he knows how to build up that NXT women's division. Then for the next match, I would have Rhea Ripley retain against Carmella. Now, I don't know if Carmella is going to come back or not because of the whole Corey Graves situation, but if you give her a match against Carmella, just some basic, somebody new that she's never faced before, it could be entertaining. It could be bad. Who knows? But just the element of surprise, like it's just a match you didn't think you would see happening. So then Rhea retain in a solid like 10-minute match. It's over with. And then you get Carmella on a pay-per-view. So I think it'll be cool. That's where she came back, or she came back on a Raw building up to that. Then the main event might throw you off for a surprise. But assuming that Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson beat Bianca and Naomi for the tag titles, on this upcoming NXT, which they should, I would have them defend against Kaden Carter and Katana Chance, be the main event of the show. And the reason I had this as the main event, because you want to build up your women's tag team division. I think this is one of the best ways to do it. Like, you build up the women's tag team division by having Lash and Jakara win those titles next week. They put on some solid feuds, have some solid matches. And Kaden Carter and Katana Chance are the perfect tag team. Like, they're organically built. They're fun to watch. So you put 2 fun tag teams with great wrestlers, and I think the promo battles, they wouldn't be the greatest, but I think they'll definitely be decent leading up to it. Then you make that the had them be the main event as tag teams. I would have Lash and Jakar retain the titles going into WrestleMania strong. So I think that'll make a lot of sense. And this probably won't happen if they were to book an all women's pay per view. Somebody like a Rhea Ripley, Bianca, Charlotte, Becky, they're definitely main event. But I think Lash and Jakar is probably the best tag team, like best actual tag team on the roster, NXT and main roster included. And then you put them against Kaden Carter and Katana Chance, like that could be a lot of fun to see, and I would enjoy it. But let me know what y'all thought about this. I got all the titles on the line, even got Becky and Charlotte both getting in a match without having to fight for a title. But like I said, let me know what y'all think if Evolution was to make a return and they did another all women's pay per view. Do you agree with these matches? Do you like them? Do you dislike them? Let me know in the comment section. Leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel. Peace.